With us.
Yeah. I appreciate everything you've done for me. Quieter. Much quieter. I think dealing with Headlock has convinced Seoka to back off from harassing my shop. And according to what I've heard, everyone else's. This should finally give me the time I need to concentrate on running my business, rather than wasting time looking over my shoulder. I'm not telling you a thing. I've already reported what I saw to security. Stop wasting my time and leave. Your presence is bad for business. There's nothing to tell you. Get it through your skull. I think we can work something out. Oh my god, enough! I'll tell you what I know, if it'll get you to leave. I saw it happen. Thomas was murdered and thrown into the ocean. Afterwards, I foolishly reported the incident to security. For my efforts, I was rewarded with a gun to my head and threatened with death if I didn't keep silent. Really? Am I not allowed to leave my own shop now? If you really must know, I was going for a walk. Shocking, I'm sure. No. The officer that threatened me was completely different. And the murderer wasn't wearing a uniform. I'd wager that the murdering bastard has a friend in security that's covering things up for him. It was hard to hear over the commotion, but I'm sure I heard Thomas call his attacker Russell and Rusty a few times. From what I could gather, the attacker was after credits, and Thomas refused to give him any. After that, well, Thomas went for a swim. God, no. I've seen him around here and there, but if he ever were to come into my shop, I tell him to leave immediately. In fact, I would never even talk to someone like him. I have no business dealing with petty criminals or Aurora addicts. Where else would someone like him be, He stays at the sleep crates near Madame Sauvage's place. In any case, when you confront him, my name cannot be mentioned. I very much dislike sharing Thomas's briny fate. And with that, I must insist you leave me in peace. That is, of course, unless you'd like to make a hefty purchase.
Look, man, have a heart. I can't pay right now, but I'll spot you next time, okay?
Do I look like an idiot? Tell me, do I have a sign that says idiot taped to my back?
No?
I know what you've been wasting your money on. Damn junkies. You pay the posted price, or you don't get anything at all. I'm running a business here. I don't give handouts.
Okay. Jeez, sorry.
Keep your nose clean.
Sophistication or ready to layer your light medical.
Hey, buddy, why don't you throw a few credits my way, huh? Help a guy out, yeah? Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, shit. No, he told me he took care of it. He told me no one would know. Listen, you gotta hear me out. I never meant to do anything. It was an accident. A friend, an old buddy in security. But that's all you're getting from me. I'd rather take my chances with you than with him. Why else? I needed some creds for Aurora, and everyone knows he and his wife run that shitty little shop. All they do is rip people off. He was bound to have creds. I got in a fight with Thomas. I asked him for some creds, but the bastard wouldn't give me anything. Things got out of hand. He ended up falling off the upper platform. It was an accident, I swear. Then I called my buddy in security and told him what happened. He took care of everything after that. Hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a rat. Listen, I messed up, I know that. But nothing can change what's already done. Just let me go and I'll disappear forever. No one will ever see me again. No one even needs to know I'm alive. Just... come on, just let me go. Oh my God. You don't need to worry. No one will ever see me again. I swear it. I'll never come back. I swear.
You're in the right place, baby.
What are you looking at? Not sure if those. Well, let's look
Oh, yes. Hello. Please, tell me everything you know. I want to hear it all. I knew it. I just knew that I was being fed lies. Nothing added up right from the start. Neon security. How can they sleep at night and act like my husband's life wasn't worth anything? My husband's killer. Did you find him? What happened to him? Well, I guess I don't much care for what you did with him, as long as he paid for what he did. And about security. Did you find out which officer is behind the cover-up? Yes, you're right. It just boils my blood thinking about what they did. But I must say that I feel oddly vindicated just by knowing the truth. The uncertainty was constantly eating away at me. At least I can take solace knowing that justice was served, at least to some degree. I never would have figured out the truth without you. I have credits for you here. Of course, I want to thank you for everything. You're the only person to show me kindness in this city. You've helped me out more than you can know. Now that I know the truth, I think I can start focusing on healing. Or trying to, at least. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Such a lovely day today. I hope you have the most wonderful day.
Smugglers always like to use Hope-Tech ships to resemble legitimate transports. I wonder how the company feels about that.
Excuse me.
Sure, we get the occasional bar fight, but it's usually pretty quiet around here.
Why did I ever take this job? Why?
Yes?
Some rules. If there's one place there's some law and order in this town, it's here. Don't even think about stealing anything. No haggling. The price is the price. And might be some other rules. Don't be an ass. then we won't have any problems. If you need weapons, the Best Defense is the only place in town. You may be thinking this place is a dump, but the hardware isn't. Lots of customers pass through. We got something for everyone. There ain't any handouts here. You need to protect what's yours. But if you do, you can be your own person. I'll take that over being a corporate drone any day of the week. A lot of my business is with travelers. Hopetown's the only patch of civilization anywhere near here. So I have to stock things that hit a little bit harder than home defense. What are you looking for?
Hello.
Ma says we might get a ball one day.
Hello? Yes? What? Keep an eye on your valuables. I can't believe Ron Hope's dead.
Okay, hello.
As vital as spaceships are to these settled systems, everything would grind to a halt without the Trade Authority. If I am not mistaken, you are new here. I hope you find Hopetown as full of opportunity as the Trade Authority does. A marvelous place, truly laissez-faire. If you have any difficult cargo to unload, I'm happy to oblige.
Oh, damn it. The cut.
A little of this, a little of that. Anything we can do to facilitate trade.
There should be a hazard bump for everyone.
Security and I have come to a very equitable arrangement, beneficial to all parties. Are you? I think we'll be the best of friends and business partners. So, do you need anything? I've never been much for offices or a storefront. But here, people from all over the system come here. A true crossroads. Delightful.
Howdy.
Lots of business since Ron died. People trying to forget their worries, I bet. Looks like another newcomer. Welcome to the pit stop.
We have a little bit of everything. What, brings you to Hopetown?
Yeah?
Well, I heard there's someone at the Best Defense looking for someone. No idea what it's about. I think his name is Suds. Suds? You can't miss him. A word of warning, it can get a little rowdy here. Keep your gun holstered and there won't be any problems. Well, you just became my favorite customer. You need anything? We got more than booze here. There's almost always a few visitors here for Hope Tech. But mainly, it's all us locals trying to get by. There was a deep hauler, said she picked up some sort of distress call in the Charybdis system. Responding to distress calls can be quite lucrative if your ship can handle itself. No, it's been pretty boring around here. People like to grouse, but truth is, Hopetown's the brightest spot on this planet. Deep down, all of us are beyond grateful to Mr. Hope. But the workers work hard and play hard too, so it's best not to drop your guard. Here's the menu.
Pardon.
This can't be happening.
You ready to do some business? You won't find any better in town.
Hey.
So, nothing to do then?
No. Good day.
I was thinking of doing some target practice later.
Hi.
Shoot up some bombs.
Howdy.
Rumor mill says Ron Hope.
I'm new in
shot
town.
when the Rangers tried to arrest
You
him.
look like you just got here
Not
too,
sure
right?
if I buy it.
What's your name, stranger? I buy you a drink. Fahim, huh? Came in on that ship, the Markup? I bet you didn't know it. But I'm a tracker. And I'm here for your bounty. Two ways this can go. You know the drill. Looks like a place that doesn't mind some color. Or you can surrender. I trank you up, deliver you, they kill you. Nobody ever picks that option. So you didn't shoot your way off Neon, Fahim? The bounty is pretty damn clear. But something don't sit right with me. Not sure what. Maybe. Maybe not. I admit, you look like a tough customer. I like to think so. All right, I'm not taking you in. But that just means somebody else will. Whatever you were shipping, you got to return it. The next tracker probably won't be as upstanding as I am. Suit yourself. But you may want to re-up your life insurance policy. One more drink and it's liftoff. Just going to finish my drink.
I feel sick. I mean, maybe. At my 6th birthday, the theme was unicorns. Sorry, bad joke. I feel like I can finally breathe again. Thank you. You're right. I'll see what I can do. You're a literal lifesaver. Take this.
Yes?
I have to go. Like, now. Since the tracker's on world, I'm sure he's got eyes on the Mark Hobb. It's just too dangerous.
It is interesting to recall that this is where humanity first reached out into the stars.
The community center on P1 is a good place to connect with others, or fulfill any spiritual needs you may have.
All are welcome here, in Why, hello there. What can I help you with? Have you come to seek assistance from the House of Enlightenment? We're here to serve the Cydonia community in many ways. While we don't have a belief in a greater power, we have faith in humanity that people will always strive to better the human race. As a community, we come together to help those in need. Food, shelter, basic amenities. We'll provide because that's what people do for one another. Be well in your travels.
Deposit detected. Initiating if please remain 2 meters away for your safety.
Going to use the elevators or stairs to reach the other levels, try to keep them clean. I hate filing litter reports.
So we struck oil.
Another long day.
While I may worker satisfaction has been trending
the day
upwards
went by
recently,
then.
taking their psychological concerns into account has played a part in that.
Only that I didn't care much for them getting disbanded years ago, and I don't care much for the rumors they're coming back someday. Everything. I make it a point not to sell crap. We got beer, wine, and spirits. We don't do too many fancy mixed drinks, at least not the kind you get in Neon or New Atlantis. It's my belief that the only booze worth drinking doesn't need to be mixed with something else to taste good.
It's hard not to worry.
I just know people are going to love those new drawings of Space Frog. Hi, thanks for doing that for me. I wish I could do it myself, but having a friendly adult help me is almost as good. I know, right? Last time I did this, lots of people came over to tell me how much they loved it. I only hope these drawings stay up longer this time. Anyways, it's not much, but I got a little something for you as a thank you. Mars is so boring sometimes. I think they'll really like them. I mean, come on, you've seen Space Frog. He's so cute! Maybe this time, people will like my drawings so much that no one will take them down. Maybe they'll be up forever. And ever. And ever. Oh my gosh, what if they're there forever and people like him so much, they make him a real Space Frog cartoon? Or like, toys for kids to play with. Or both. See you later, alligator.
This is UC Security. contraband? And we're done. Welcome to New Homestead.
Welcome to New Homestead. Please make your way to the building at the end of the path and down into the colony below. Stay safe and enjoy your visit. New Homestead is a living history exhibit, but these are real people, so please be kind to them.
Provided one does not cling too tightly to it.
Damn power's on the fritz again. Joyce always seems to need help clearing ice off the equipment. The people here live a simple life. Try not to complicate it.
Hello.
That tour guide showed one of the kids a picture of some silly drawing he saw in London. Now I feel like it's popping up everywhere.
I always wonder what it's like where other people come from. Hello? I'm not really supposed to talk with tourists, but I kind of want to anyway. And I don't think my papa is paying attention. You're not going to tell him, are you? Oh, I guess that's okay. I wouldn't want to make you lie. My mama always tells me it's not good to lie. Now what should we talk about? Not really. There's some, though. Most are around my age. We all go to school in the same room. I don't know. I've never been to any other schools. We mostly learn about the history of the Sol system and Earth and stuff like that, until we get old enough to go on our learning vacation. That's when we get to leave to go to school somewhere else for a few years, or travel and visit other worlds, try out jobs and stuff. Oh, I can't wait. My mama says it's because he thinks we'd up and leave if we found out about the rest of the worlds out there. But I keep telling him, I love it here, and I love him, and I would never leave him. He doesn't believe it. He says the kids almost always want to leave when they grow up. But not me. Nope. I just want to visit somewhere else. Maybe. I think it's pretty fun. And I get to be around my mama and my papa all day, so that's cool. They say we all have to work a little, because it takes all of us to make the community work, just like on Earth a really, really, really long time ago. Someday, I think it'd be cool to see other places and do other things, but this is fine for now. Bye!
We Titans are hardy people. You'd have to be to live in a place like this. We get a lot of tourists out this way, but most of them aren't so bold as to strike up conversations with us. What's your deal? You seem genuine enough. So what can I do for you? From what I know about farming elsewhere, it's largely the same. Big difference is that we need to import or make our own soil. And we need to be extra careful with our temperature control. Titan's surface is frozen, and it's not much better just below it with the ice caves. Then it's just a matter of artificial sunlight and supplying CO2 for the crops. It's not too challenging. Well, for one, it's my wife Mara's farm. I just had the good fortune of marrying into it. It's been in her family for generations. We're the best source of fresh produce in the colony. Not like that processed junk we get from off-world, and certainly nothing like that eyesore chunks. No worries. You have yourself a day now.
Do you come from one of those planets with beautiful skies and fresh air? My, how I'd love to visit one day. Ah, someone new. Are you a tourist, or have you just moved to New Homestead? Well, there's lots to learn. You can always feel free to try one of the historical tours, or ask the locals about life here. I'm fascinated by the other worlds in the settled systems. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Oh, wonderful. What's New Atlantis like? Oh, that's disappointing. It seems so exciting from all I've heard. It must be a matter of personal taste, then. I wonder if I'd like it. Maybe someday I'll get up the nerve to visit myself. Do you mind if I ask you another question? Thanks. I promise not to take too much of your time. Is the Freestar Collective as lawless as I've heard? I figured the stories weren't all true. How else would you expect people to live together if you can't trust in laws to keep everyone safe? Even in a small community like ours, we have to maintain law and order. Though, I understand it gets difficult to always protect that out in the vastness of space. I imagine it's the same in the Freestar Collective. Is it okay if I change the subject? Oh, thank you. Are there really planets full of plants, fresh air, and water? I've read about them. It seems incredible, doesn't it? I've only ever known Titan, and it's always so cold and drab. I've always dreamed of visiting one to breathe the air, feel the warmth of its sun, but my husband is reluctant to leave our home. Can I ask you something else? Oh, thank you. Is space travel as exciting as it seems? I've heard stories about pirates and spaceship malfunctions and all sorts of terrible things. I've always wanted to try going into space, but I'm also worried about all those dangers. Maybe people here are right. The dangers here are few, and we know how to take care of them. Space is too unknown. Those are all the questions I have at the moment. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day for me. The elders say that preserving our tradition is so important, but I keep hearing such wonderful things about other worlds.
My papa doesn't really like me talking to tourists, but how else am I
Boy, am I glad they have a chunks here.
We're out of chunk special sauce again. But trust me, the food's still great without it.
Welcome to Chunks. Please choose your chunks.
Hello there. Welcome to the new Homestead Chunks. We've got all your Chunks favorites. Well, almost all of them. Sadly, we're out of the special sauce. I know. But everything else is still that great Chunks food you know and love. So, what can I do for you? If I'm completely honest, it is. And people are always saying how this Chunks can't compare to the real deal. And I just know it's because we never had that mouth-watering sauce. I've been in contact with some of the other restaurants out there, and they'll give me some. But they say they can't afford to send it, and I don't have a ship, so what am I to do? Wait, for real? You do that? You're not pulling my leg? Oh, of course. Between what I've got personally and the petty cash, I'm sure I can get you what you deserve. So, I know of another chunk that has a case of sauce ready to go for me. I actually cleared it with them just before you arrived. If you mention it to whoever's working the counter there, they'll hook you up. Bring it back here, and we'll be golden. Thanks.
Thanks for choosing Chunks.
Don't tell my wife.
Which chunks would you
but I
like
actually
today?
prefer Chunks to her cooking. And don't get me wrong, her cooking's great. Well, people gotta eat, you know? But seriously, I think we're just starting to get with the times a little. And I can't think of a better restaurant than Chunks to usher that in. I think corporate just saw New Homestead as an untapped market. I mean, the locals may not eat it, but the tourists love having a taste of home. You know I do. And what's not to love? It's delicious, nutritious, easy, fast, inexpensive. It sure makes my hungry belly sing for joy. Yeah. My wife thinks I eat too much Chunks food, but I just can't help myself. It's so good. Oh, you had to go and ask the hard questions, huh? How can I pick just one? There's chicken chunks, beef chunks, potato chunks, cheesesteak chunks, cheesecake chunks. You know what? I'm gonna cheat if you don't mind, and just say I love them all equally. Sure. What delicious Chunks food can I get for you? Have a great day.
Did you see those?
What did we think of the tour?
Very informative. I didn't know about the methane harvesters before coming here.
The Brown Horse Tavern, was it, huh? The food was better than I expected from a backwoods planet like this.
It has a quaint charm, doesn't it?
Just like the rest of New Homestead.
Well, I hope you'll come back and see us again sometime. And I hope you'll consider another Starsap tour. Tell your friends.
Bye. We will. Thanks again.
Excuse me, Bill. You've got to do a better job of keeping your tour groups out of trouble.
What do you mean?
That little boy almost wound up on my operating table. Claudio said he was playing with some of the machinery down by the mines and nearly got his arm stuck inside. It could have been ripped off.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, kids, little troublemakers. I'll tell the guests to be more careful.
Damn right. You've got to do something. Or else next time it happens, I'm billing you personally.
Yeesh. Why, hello there! I'm Bill Starsap of Starsap Tours. Let me tell you, this place is full of history and interesting facts. For instance, did you know that New Homestead was one of the first colonies established outside of Earth? It's been populated in some capacity for over 200 years. Well, there's plenty more where that came from if you're interested in taking one of my famous tours. So what do you say? I've got an opening. I could take you on a tour right now if you'd like. Definitely check out the Brown Horse Tavern. Good food, great atmosphere. Avoid spending too much time outdoors. It's freezing out there. Any more than that, and well, I'd be giving away the tour for free. None taken. I get it all the time. If you think it sounds made up, well, that's because it is. I come from an eccentric family. Back in the early days of space travel, generations ago, my ancestors were really into science fiction. They wanted a name that seemed like it fit into the stories they grew up with, so they changed their last name, and the Starsap family name was born. Used to be Bramblefoot before that. Their ancestors liked a different type of fiction. Excellent! You won't regret it! My tours are one of a kind! Now, there's just the matter of price. The going rate for a genuine Starsap tour is only 100 credits. Well, 100 credits is very reasonable, I think. I know. I gotta work on my pitch a little. Maybe I could give you a discount just this once to prove my tour is worth it. I assure you it wasn't intentional. I really should have been upfront about the price. I thought maybe you saw one of the flyers. Maybe I could do something for you. Tell you what, I like you. This one's on the house, but if you enjoyed the tour, I'd really appreciate if you'd tell all your friends about me when it's done. So let's get this show on the road, eh? All right, so this is New Homestead's main concourse. This underground area didn't exist when the original outpost, Titan Astro Base, was finished in 2130. Follow me. We'll come back here by the end of the tour and talk about the museum collection. But first, let's go see where people live. Now remember, these people aren't actors. They actually live here, so try to be respectful of that. While the original inhabitants of the Titan Astro Base lived in pods like you saw up above, they transitioned down here when this section of the base was finished in 2144. Space is extremely limited, so you'll notice some overflow here, but more residences also exist on lower levels, which are inaccessible to tours.
Oh, it's so cold here.
I'll stop at each of our destinations if you want to look around, or if you have any questions for me.
Ah! I have so much energy. I want to run around.
Another tourist. Just do me a favor and stay out of trouble. It's hard enough dealing with our own sick and injured. Great! Another tourist. Let me guess. You slipped on the ice and need a doctor to wrap your sprained ankle? They do, but they're also a terrible burden for a small colony doctor like myself. I have enough trouble treating our own people with the time and resources I have. I appreciate that you're trying to set me at ease, but that might as well be the same. Sorry for how I responded. It's not you, it's me. I'm just frustrated about all the non-native people I need to treat when our own still need help. Anyway, what can I do for you? Even though we don't have shiny new medical facilities, I imagine it's easier than wherever you're from. We have fewer people here, and we're very responsible when it comes to our personal health and welfare. So there's not much I can't handle. For anything else, we can get access to off-world specialists. Contrary to popular belief, we're not primitive. It's a harsh world, but as long as you're inside or wear a suit when going out, you'll be fine here. There's no breathable air on the surface, and you'll quickly freeze to death outside without protective gear, but otherwise the hazards are minimal. New Homestead was an early colony research base and has stood the test of time. It's safe, and it's proof that people can live pretty much anywhere. Don't worry so much. I don't. They make a mockery of New Homestead culture. And on top of it, they're reckless. It's like I said before, I feel like I'm treating them more often than our own people. Actually, maybe there is. I have an idea that may be best suited for someone relatively unknown, instead of myself. I've got a mountain of work and a reputation to maintain. So I bought a realistic monster costume. The plan was to wear it, scare tourists away, and start a rumor about terrible creatures living on Titan. I figure that once word gets around, tourism will take enough of a dive to give me some relief. Maybe, I'm not sure. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't have any other ideas. The tourism board flat out won't help me, and I don't have money in the budget to hire additional help. And you know these tourists will believe anything they see and hear. I think it's worth a shot. Worst case scenario, I'm back to square one. Oh, good. I was hoping not to have to do it myself, so I'm glad to have a volunteer. Here's the costume. I think this will work best on the surface, so just find a group and run up to them, acting like a convincing alien monster. With any luck, they'll run screaming and book the next flight out of here. If you take one of those stupid tours, make sure to follow the rules. They're for your own safety and my sanity. I bought it from a private seller. They said they got it from someone who wore it in a secondary school as their sports team mascot. I guess it was supposed to be a tardigrade or something. Anyway, the person I bought it from modified it a bit so they could use it in an independent movie they were making. But I guess that went nowhere, so they had to sell it. Lucky me, I suppose. Be well.
Off-worlders always ask how I can live here. I wonder how they can live anywhere else.
Hi there. Always nice.
Have any questions so far? I'm not sure the exact count, but New Homestead is a fairly small colony. What you see is what you get for the most part, except for some other people who live in the private lower levels. Some, particularly security, and yours truly, even commute from other worlds. The original Titan Astrobase had more habitation pods on the surface connected to some of the old structures you may have seen in the back. As the colony grew, the base was expanded underground, and those hab units were recycled into materials used down here. Sadly, it's difficult to get additional construction done inside these underground caverns. So for now, additional populations are housed in these stacks of old shipping crates. As you might expect, this is where some of the less wealthy can afford to live. It's not glamorous, but they are functional and cozy. Alrighty, we'll be taking the residential elevator to the farms area on the surface level. This way, please. Let's leave these good people alone for now and go check out the farms. Follow me up the elevator.
Welcome to New Homestead.
New Homestead's farms are the beating heart of the colony. Without them, the original outpost would have shriveled and died. These pods are sealed and climate controlled, perfect environment for growing the hydroponic vegetation needed for survival in the early days of the colony. Any questions about the farms? Good question. It's largely the same, because this was the colony that pioneered the techniques you see elsewhere. But you'll notice that the farms here are smaller and staffed by humans, not robots. Things here are a little more old-fashioned compared to some of the large factory farms you'll find elsewhere in the settled systems.
Well, we tend to farm here because we need to grow food. And that's what our
These days, it's a mix of what you find elsewhere in the galaxy, but in the olden days, it was all brought over from Earth. It was a lot of hardy root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, beets, and such, supplemented with corn, peas, green beans, soy, etc., which didn't always grow as well.
It's not really the same, is it?
Oh, they are indeed. Colonists still cultivate plant-based food for their own consumption here in New Homestead. It's less vital to their survival these days, as they also import supplemental food from other colonies, including meats, dairy, and synthetics. However, most citizens here take pride in a New Homestead-grown, sustainable diet. Onward it is! We'll be stopping by the Brown Horse Tavern later in the tour, which uses many of these locally sourced ingredients in their cooking. But for now, it's just a short way to our next stop. Follow me! So,
My daddy says
the old
farming is really
biolabs are
important.
just on the other side of this building, believe it or not. We'll step on through the hallway there. They're not in use anymore, but the colony has faithfully recreated them as a historical exhibit, true to the original purpose of the Titan Astrobase.
You get
Sadly,
used to
they're
the methane
undergoing some
processing smell
light
after a while.
renovation. Otherwise, there'd be interactive activities for kids to learn about how they used to search for microbial life here.
Don't stay outside for too long here on Titan. You'll freeze solid without the proper protection.
Pardon the dust, but I can still answer some questions about the old Titan Astrobase biolabs. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to mention that. That's what this place was originally called. When NASA divested its interest in the Astrobase and turned it over to the people back in 2185, they renamed it New Homestead and established it as a historical site. Funny you should ask! Sadly, none. See, NASA funded the Titan Astrobase project because conditions seemed ripe for primordial life to form in Titan's methane pools. They tested many different sites, performed deep core ice drilling, and more, yet nothing turned up. Well, NASA defunded the xenobiology program in 2132, but a scientist by the name of Catherine Neely proposed research into advanced colony building on inhospitable worlds. So, by 2135, work began on what would ultimately set us all up to create habitats anywhere humans dared to explore. These very labs housed the computer systems used in that research. That and general storage for the colony. Lots of storage. You got it. On to our next stop. Next, we'll be heading outside, so make sure to check those seals on your suit because it's a bit chilly out there. We're going out into the frozen wastes of Titan to see what powers this planet. Watch your step outside, by the way. The ice can be slippery if you're not careful. The goal is to kick people out of Dr. Lakota's infirmary. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. Powering New Homestead. As you might imagine, generating energy was a real challenge back in the day because the technology was much more crude then. But crude or not, it was that technology that sustained the old Astrobase. And it might surprise you to learn that the same technology is still working today. The interesting thing about this old colony is that it's mostly powered by clean, renewable energy. You'll see one of the methods used on the horizon up ahead. That's right, New Homestead's famous wind farms. This spot was chosen for the colony in part because of its constant winds. These turbines have been integral to the colony's function since its establishment as a cheap, mostly reliable source of electricity. So, let's talk about wind power, shall we? You're right. Most surface wind on Titan isn't too terribly strong, but here, the altitude and other conditions are perfect for sustained wind power. Like many worlds with atmosphere, the higher you go, the windier it gets. You're looking at a piece of history. Sure, wind power is used throughout the galaxy, but these people were able to make do with it for hundreds of years. It's impressive that was all they had back then, and still make it work to this day. Mostly. I'm sure you've noticed the occasional brownouts. I guess these old machines have a habit of freezing up, what with all the ice out here. There's some methane on reserve for critical life support systems, but everything else here is otherwise powered by the units you see here. Absolutely. Careful, though. I wouldn't stand too close to the turbines if I were you. So, let's talk about... You're the boss. Let's go. Moving right along, we're going to learn about Titan's great natural resources. Titan is rich with hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Surely you saw huge pools of the stuff on your descent into New Homestead. I like to think they add to the natural beauty of this world. Though, of course, stay away from them because, like anything beautiful, they can be dangerous. Just like my last ex-wife's pet. She had this gorgeous, I don't know what you'd call it, creature. The guy that sold it to her couldn't tell her what it was or where it was from. I don't think it was even a legal sell, to be honest. The thing was very easy on the eyes. Feathers, all the colors of the rainbow. Nasty bite, though. Wound up in the hospital and almost lost my hand. Still not enough for her to get rid of the dang thing. Anyway, there's a reason she's my ex-wife. But enough about me. We were talking about methane and other resources, right? Hey, can you believe it? Back in the 20th century on Earth, they used to fight wars over natural resources like this and petroleum. They had this whole moon here basically made of hydrocarbons in their own backyard. They just couldn't get to it. Incredible how far we've come. New Homestead is home to one of the oldest and largest methane processing plants in the settled system. Every year, UC engineers go through a painstaking, month-long maintenance process. That's how this place has remained operational as long as it has. I'm not going to take you too close to the machinery, liability and all, but I can still answer questions. Questions? Fire away! It's not as if they shut down for a month. It's not shut down at all, actually. See, this place is built with redundant systems, so they can shut it down piece by piece and suffer only a reduction in throughput. During that time, the UC gets more of its resources from other places, allowing New Homestead to maintain what it needs. Exports mostly, since this world is so methane-rich and has the infrastructure for it, a lot of the UC's methane comes from Titan. Of course, New Homesteaders use it themselves for everything from generating heat to turning it into breathable oxygen via modern science. Oh, no one's ever asked me that before. Something to do with methane-eating microbes, I believe? I honestly don't know. Sorry. Okie dokie, artichokey. There will be time for more later anyway. So, this next stop is a bit of an interesting one. I only recently made it part of the tour. Fun fact, it's also the only natural landmark on the tour. What we're about to see is a glacial spire we affectionately call Emir's Horn. This colus used to be named after a character in a popular fantasy novel, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago to avoid any potential litigation. Now, what's a colus, you might say? Colus derives from the Latin word for hill, and scientists only gave names to groups of hills on a planet's surface. So in reality, the term you hear more often is the plural, coles, with an E. You probably don't hear it very often where you're from, because it was usually a term reserved for unexplored planets, back when they didn't have the technology to describe what they were seeing firsthand. Because of that, the term is much more common in the Sol system, but you may still hear it occasionally in reference to uncharted worlds. This planet's full of them, though, and they like to preserve that history here. So here it is, Ymir's Horn. You're free to take a closer look if you like. How about that? You really know your stuff. Maybe you should be the one giving the tour. I kid. I'm not sure. I heard someone say that before. Something about the worn-down remains of an ancient volcano producing ice via steam? I don't know. It sounds like you understand this stuff better than I do. According to ancient Norse mythology, Ymir was the first Jotun, a frost giant. In the legend, they were both male and female and gave birth to the progenitors of all giants from their armpits. Ymir even predated the Norse gods, who, as it turns out, killed Ymir to fashion the earth and all of humanity from the corpse. It's a fascinating story, and the horn here is a fitting tribute to it. Excellent! On to the next stop, then! So, we're gonna head back inside, through the methane processing plant. Try not to touch anything on your way. We want to make sure to respect Dr. Lakota's wishes to be safer around here. That brings me to another point. You'll notice the people around here have last names related to where their families originated from on Earth, as a way to remember the past. The museum curator, Maurice Leon, has more information about that if you're interested. You can find him inside the main concourse. Loves talking about it. You'll find most of the locals here are very friendly to tourists like yourself. Tourism is a major draw to this colony these days, and I respect that. Most of them are happy to talk at length about what they do here. Their rugged lifestyle is a point of pride for a lot of these folks. This area we're walking through is the nerve center of the plant, where technicians keep an eye on the operation. Since methane production is such an important part of the colony's livelihood, it's important that the techs notice any issues and react to them quickly. Anyway, we're headed into the ice mines. It's a natural spring where water bubbles up from deep below, but due to the cold, it keeps freezing as it reaches the surface.
Be careful around here. Tourists often get into trouble not watching where they step. Another tourist come to learn about the ice mines, huh? It's dangerous in the ice mines. I'd much rather answer your questions than have you going off to explore on your own. For one, New Homestead is not a wealthy colony. But we also pride ourselves on doing things the old ways. It's part of the living history, they say. We don't mind. We work hard here, and it's very rewarding. For drinking water, and we use some of it to produce this air you're breathing. We recycle a lot of what we use, but we still need a nice, steady supply of fresh water. Lucky for us, Titan provides. I'm surprised I still get this question. It's slippery, it's sharp, it can break, it can cave in. Those are just the obvious examples. Titan is also full of methane, which can sometimes be trapped under the ice. As you know, methane can explode under the right conditions. It can also asphyxiate you if you breathe in too much of it. Ah, so you can relate. It's good to talk with someone who understands the challenges of the job. Not everyone does. If I might ask, what do you mind? Ah, I see. I can respect that. We used to do more traditional mining like that here, but it made much more sense to do it off-world, since it takes a lot more effort for less gain. We mostly export methane and other natural gases instead. Anyway, I'm sure we could swap mining stories all day, but I really should be getting back to what I was doing soon. Be careful out there.
It's a little weird that people come here to see what early colony life.
I find myself suddenly very grateful for our accommodations in the lodge.
What else can I tell you about the ice mines? I wouldn't recommend it. First, it's an active work site. Second, it still needs to be filtered and checked for contaminants. But don't worry, we'll stop somewhere for refreshments before the tour is over. Good question. I believe it has something to do with not wanting to contaminate the water with methane and other chemicals. The ice helps prevent impurities in the water. At least this is what I've been told. Not all. Some water is created as a byproduct of methane processing, but that's usually saved in the emergency reserves. Sounds good. Let's keep going then. We have just one more stop before we're done with the tour, and it just happens to be my favorite. This colony is home to the longest running establishment still in existence, the Brown Horse Tavern. The Brown Horse started as a simple mess hall for the scientists and workers when the underground was built, but it's been operated by the same family ever since. Now, what's a horse, you might say? They were a large four-legged animal on Earth, often used for transportation or manual labor. Long before space travel was even a dream for the folks of Earth, even before antique machines like automobiles were possible, horses could be found everywhere. You might have seen them in old movies or read about them somewhere. If not, I highly recommend looking into them sometime. They're beautiful animals. The tavern's original owner was infatuated with them, from what I understand, and named the place in their honor. The moniker, Brown Horse Tavern, is also a throwback to names of similar Earth restaurants hundreds of years before it was established.
I know. I'm just...
Well, I suppose this is one way to make a living. And if New Homestead deems it necessary.
The tourists hated that. Well,
Those
Joyce says
folks
she's
in
on
Feronia may be
it. Something about
closing
the
tomorrow.
turbines
But we
freezing
do a
up
better
again.
job preserving it.
Joyce is great at what she does.
Welcome to the Brown Horse. Welcome. I'm Anya. Is this your first time with us at the Brown Horse Tavern? Oh, well, thank you for joining us. You're in for a real treat. we've got an assortment of food and drinks, some of which follow homemade recipes that have been passed down over hundreds of years. So, what can I do for you? Oh, hardly. The locals pretty much stay away from chunks, so whenever they don't feel like cooking themselves and want a fresh meal, they come to me. Only the tourists eat that junk. But don't tell that to my husband. He manages the chunks. I love him, but he's a bit of a fanatic about it. You mean the Brown Horse? Well, it's only the longest continuous running restaurant since humans started settling outside of Earth. There's a lot of history within these walls. And some damn fine food and drink, if I say so myself. This place has been in my family for generations. My however many great-grandmother opened it when the first colony started on Titan. Back then, it was a simple mess hall that she chose to put a little extra love and flavor into. And now, it's the pride of New Homestead. Let me show you what we have. So long. Tell your friends about us.
That delicious smell is making me hungry. Can I answer anything about the Brown Horse? Anya Seattle is the current owner of the Brown Horse. It's been in the Seattle family for generations. But Anya will be able to tell you more herself. Feel free to ask her. It doesn't feel right coming from me when she's standing right over there. Ooh, that's a tough one. I honestly love everything Anya serves here. I'd be doing her a disservice to recommend one dish over another. You want the real answer? Order one of everything. Easy. All the other ones fell to ruin when we abandoned Earth. There were technically older ones on Mars, but those have long since shuttered or been replaced. Okay then. All right, we're headed to the last stop, right back where we began. Feel free to check out the museum exhibit in the main concourse here. These displays are full of rare Earth trinkets salvaged from before humanity left, and Maurice is happy to talk about the collection. The museum's curator, Maurice, will be happy to talk to you if you want to know more. Well, that's that. I hope you enjoyed Starsap tours as much as I enjoy giving them. Oh, wow. I really appreciate it. You know, I rely on tips from good people like you, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy the rest of your stay in New Homestead.
Perhaps in the future we could skip the extra steps and just set your cred stick on fire directly?
Take care! Do you want to know what life was like for the early colonists? Starsap Tours was voted Best Historic Tour 3 years in a row. I'll be here if you need anything.